Hi, welcome back to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogel. Glad you could join us here today. We're going to talk a little bit about what went on. Well, let's talk about a little bit what went on last year. We've got our 2015 Man of the Year from the Nelson County Barstown Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Tiger Huston. Tiger, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Well, again, you know, we great award the other night, and I know it's something that's you've been involved with the chamber, and well, we'll get into a few minutes what all you've been involved with, and I guess that's the point I want to make, because they call it the Man of the Year, but obviously it wasn't 2015. You just didn't all of a sudden show up and start doing things. I mean, for the last 20, 15, 20, 30 years, I'm not going to tell how old you are, but it's been a long time. You've been in a lot of things. You just don't become Man of the Year in 1 year.
No, and I think I think it's also you get older, they're going to give you work. All right, who have we not got?
I don't know about that.
But, no, I appreciate it very much, and I'm just kidding when I say that. I think initially it was given to me because of the 2015, because of that I chaired the Bourbon Festival, and we did really well this year. But I have been involved ever since probably the mid '80s.
Well, let's go to the Bourbon Festival first before we do anything. You have been the chair of that the last year or so. You hired a new director. You've been going through some major growing pains.
We certainly did. It was a trying year, early part of 2015 with trying to changing an executive director and trying to hire a new one. It took us a little while to do that process. In the meantime, the board ran the festival. Of course, we've had Mary Jane Dickerson and Johanna Lawson there for years that did a wonderful job and still do, Johanna does. But it was trying there for a while.
Yeah.
But we wanted to get the right person in the job, and we absolutely have.
Well, the Bourbon Festival is not like any other festival we have around here. I mean, it is huge. I mean, it started out, I remember going to the very first Bourbon Festival. I think it was 1 weekend, Friday night and a Saturday.
It was really more of a dinner than anything. Yeah. They had a couple of events for the media, but primarily it was just a dinner out on the old number 8 fairway out there is where it was.
Exactly. Now it's spread out over 5, 6, 7 nights in 2 or 3 different towns.
41 events.
41 events.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's a blast to have, when it was all said and done, when it was all over with. I had a little sigh of relief, but I had a really good time doing it. I did, and it's so wonderful for this town, and it brings in, we think, around 60,000 people last year. So they're all coming to see Barstown the first time. I'm talking it's spread around the entire United States and the world. And I think we had 46 or 7 states. The weirdest thing, we were represented by Hawaii, but not by North Dakota. I'm not sure what that means.
North Dakota people don't care much for bourbon. They're into that Canadian whiskey.
I guess so. I don't know. But it was really fun. I enjoyed doing it because we had such a great staff and a great, as you said, it's a year-long process. It literally takes 12 months to do this. The day after the festival's over, you don't even take a breath. You start again. And that's because we have literally hundreds of volunteers. We had over 300 volunteers last year.
Well, I know a lot of the events sell out 6, 8 months in advance, probably a year in advance. So some of them
do. And we're hoping that continues. We're going to continue to grow it, add an event or 2 every year. We're working on that right now. Working on some locations, we're getting bigger and bigger, and Barstown just doesn't have quite the large space to be able to, put 1,500 people.
It doesn't hurt to share the wealth a little bit. Oh, Louisville is not the bourbon capital.
Absolutely not, and I've made that clear a number of times. I spoke at the Bourbon Festival Awards Dinner last year, and I said that publicly. I said this is the real bourbon capital.
Mayor Fisher is going to have to stay away from
that. But I will tell you that I have been in contact with Mayor Fisher's office last year. Yeah. We had some meetings with some of his people, and I really don't think that they would love to have the name Bourbon Festival, Bourbon Capital of the World. However, I really don't think they want the festival. They have their own ideas there, and they want us to be incorporated in those ideas as well. Yeah. So I think there's going to be some things going on in Louisville this year that we're going to be involved in as well.
Well, and like I said, in addition to that, I know you were on the city council in Bloomfield for several years. You've been
two terms.
Chairing the cable TV committee up in Barstown City.
My dad was the original chairman.
Oh, really?
Several years ago when they first started the municipal cable system here. How that works is if you have a municipal cable system, you have to have a board of citizens to choose the channels, where the government is not choosing what's on television for you. So my dad was it, and then he stepped down, and it was, I think it was Mayor Brock that asked me to be on there, and I was on for several years, and then they kicked me off for a while when I moved to Bloomfield, and then we didn't have Barstown Cable there. Then I came back, so I've been doing that a number of years. I really enjoy it. It keeps you kind of what's going on, and those guys down there, the city. I'm telling you what, and I'm not trying to sell one over there.
Well, I had Jeff Bill in there. We're trying to sell it.
Well, let me tell you right now, it's crazy if you did anything else. I mean, it is municipally owned. It's not trying to make a profit. Therefore, you can keep the prices down. The channel selection is good, and you're not down. You've got some great engineers there. If you have a down or outage, they're going to be right there on top of it. It's
try that with DirecTV.
Yeah, try that with Time Warner or any of those.
I have tried it with Time Warner. My mother used to be on it. She switched back to cable because at Time Warner you couldn't get anybody on the phone.
My son in Louisville, he cusses them like weekly. It's pretty much. But other than that, I've been involved a long time. City council in Bloomfield a couple of terms. I'm not quite thick-skinned enough for politics, Kenny. I know you're a bit of a politician.
I was thick-skinned or thick-headed.
I am thick-headed, but I'm not thick-skinned. So I kind of got out of that early, but I'm still involved in organizations over there. But I've been in the Rotary Club since '85.
Yeah,
you and I are fellow Rotarians, and I've been. I was a president I was a chairman of the chamber back, and it's volatile days as well. As a matter of fact, we and Bill Comey and I were one of the last chairmans that before they formed the NCTA umbrella, and I was kind of involved.
And he's one of the founders of Turkey Kick. So.
And you know what? The most important one is Turkey Kick. I've said that all along. Jack Hurst and I, in 1980, started that, and I was only involved 5 years. I got married. My wife made me get out of it. But he
she said you never was home.
Well, that's what she said. She said, "No, we want to get up early on Thanksgiving morning."
There you go. Well, let's go back. You just touched on it a few minutes ago. I know your dad just passed away here recently, but how much of an influence was he? What you do today?
He and my mom both. They truly were. They worked for their respective. Whoever they like the school system. My dad did a lot of volunteering.
Well, he's the superintendent for the school.
Well, he was a DPP. He was administrator. Yeah. But he was also the original Nelson County Rec Board, and he was on there for 13 or 14 years, I think. There's still a plaque I found the other day that he got for stepping down. Then my mother was city clerk in Bloomfield for like 14 or 15 years. And I don't think they paid it. It's a paid position now. I don't think it was back then. And so, but both of them were always volunteers throughout, whether it was in the church in the early days or whatever organization. My mom and dad were the scorekeepers for the Bourbon Festival for the Bourbon Open for many years. So Kim and I both saw that at an early age that you're expected to give back to your community, and I believe that, and I'm trying to raise my children the same.
Well, that's my next question was, what's the next generation of the Hustons? Is that
Drew's still finding himself right now. He's going to be on the long year plan for school, I think. But my oldest son, Davis, is an engineer, and he's living in Louisville. So I told him, I said, you need to volunteer. Whether I don't care what that is, volunteer in the soup kitchen or Salvation Army, but you really need to be involved in something.
Now, in your day job, you're executive vice president of Wilson Beer Bank.
Senior vice president of Wilson Beer Bank. I've been there. This is my 36th year as of January 2nd. Yeah, it's been a long time. I never had no intention of doing that for a living. I have a degree in advertising from UK. And my dad called me home after I graduated, and I stayed in Lexington about 6 months working at a little convenience store there. And my dad said, "Well, you're welcome to stay there, but the spigot is being turned off, but you're welcome to come home."
Banking business, has that changed a lot in the last 36 years?
Are you kidding? Golly, it's I started at Muir Wilson and Muir, which was the bank in Bloomfield before the merger 30 odd years ago. But yes, it's changed. Are you kidding? The regulatory environment is just, I consider myself more of a liberal type banker, if anybody. And I believe in consumer protection. Obviously, it's needed. But some of these regulations they're onerous, and they're just adding mounds and mounds of paper and mounds of time and expense.
Wilson Beer Bank has grown quite a bit. I mean,
we
had two locations one time. You're in several counties now, aren't you?
We're in 4 counties, 10 locations, 10 full-time locations, and then we have a couple of drive-ups. We just celebrated, as you know, our 150th anniversary back in December, and that's primarily the same people, a lot of the same families have been involved in this bank since 1865.
Okay. Well, Man of the Year, obviously, that was quite an honor. But
very surprised.
But is that something that culminates a career, or you got a lot more to give?
Well, no. What it did give me is, and I hate to say this, I don't want to sound pompous or anything, but it validates what you do. And you think, well, someone's recognizing what you've done over there. But I certainly didn't expect it, Kenny, and I didn't. And sometimes when my wife tells me I'm horrible about this, that someone gives me a compliment or something, I'd say something negative, and I shouldn't have. I was truly honored to get it. I really was. I've been to many of those meetings.
Yeah.
I presented when I was chairman. I presented the award to Kenny Rapier, Big Kenny Rapier, and it was the biggest attendance they ever had. I want to say there was like 400 people there at the whole Holiday Inn. And I was so scared, I remember, to give that speech there. So I've been around all these years and watched all this, and so I truly know that it is a real award, and it's for service, and I appreciate that. It's probably as nice as anything I've done. But no, I'm going to continue. No, I'm not hanging it up. I told, as a matter of fact, the Bourbon Festival, go back to Bourbon Festival, I told them, I said, look, I'll be the chairman for 1 year. I don't want to do it for any longer than that.
Yeah.
Jim Rutledge was 9 years. Jerry Summers was 5 years. Before that, other people had done it for years. Pam, Gover. Yeah. And I I don't want to. I said, I'm a one and done here, folks. And I said, I have 2 goals. My goals are that no one dies and that we make $1. Well, we met our goals. We don't have our final numbers yet, but it looks like that this was absolutely financially the best festival times 3 or 4.
Well, the community things don't just happen.
Oh,
I guess that's the thing about it. People may not understand is they don't see all the nights that you do stay out late, or all the days you have to go in early.
And a lot of other people besides me.
And it's a lot of people. It's not just you, but obviously it takes somebody to herd the cats.
And that's what it was last year. Let me tell you. But no, it's very well organized. As I said, we've got the staff in place. They've been there so long that it kind of works like clockwork with them. But it does. The last month of the festival, particularly last week or two, it gets down to crunch time and it goes really crazy. That's when the volunteers step up, and we could not do that. That's why Louisville won't have this festival. Because you remember the Colonel's Barbecue?
Oh yeah, it fell apart.
Went to Louisville, died 2 years later,
it did.
Because Kenny, they simply can't get the volunteer base that we can here. Here in Nelson County, you can get the volunteers. Even when the Colonels had it out there, it wasn't just the Colonels volunteering; it was everybody else in the community.
It's that hometown pride.
It is, and that's why, and people love it. We started a new thing this past year called the VIP Loft, and that was a kind of a high-end ticket where you could go down to Spalding Hall up in the loft and spend the whole week there. And I got to meet people from all over the United States. I mean, every walk of life. It was really amazing. And they truly love Bardstown. They think we have amazing. One of my best friends from Bloomfield grew up. He moved away right after high school. Rarely comes back here. He came in. He's thinking about moving here, and he was like, "What have I missed all these years?" And I said, "Here you go."
We got it all. Well, like I said, I think one thing a lot of people may not know about you. I know that I've never been able to beat you on music trivia. You seem to know all.
Well, you know what killed and I used to get phone calls. 10:30 at night, somebody calls me from a bar. Tiger, who did? But Google killed me, man. Google, I don't get it. You don't have to. You just punch it in Google anymore.
We talk about different bands and different music, and I've never seen you miss a beat on any. So
no, I'm a music lover. I truly am. And we've got Beautiful Dreamers Ball. That's another organization I've been involved with for a long time. That's coming up next weekend. Of course, the trivia contest is associated with that. Never won it. Never have even been in the top 3 of winning.
Johnny probably has it rigged. So
I'm thinking there's something wrong here, but this might be the year.
It might be the year. Well, Tiger, we do congratulate you, man, on the year this year, and appreciate everything you've been doing. Like I said, this community is a whole lot better having you here, Bloomfield as well. So we appreciate that.
I hope that's very nice.
Well, Daddy Huston did a good job.
Well, Daddy and Mommy both.
I didn't know your mom. I met your dad a few times, but
no, they did. They were wonderful parents, and they set up Kim and I both. And I give Kim the kudos to you because she's done a great job.
Absolutely. Well, stick around. We got a lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV. Tiger Huston, our 2015 Bardstown Nelson County Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year, here with us today, and we're glad you can join us as well. We'll stick around. Got a lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV right after this.